no Zeke, no Mark Ingram. Man, Ravens and Cowboys, man, just screwing us all over. So who do we start at running back? Well, we'll get into that, but before that, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead and leave a like if you enjoy the content, become a bro and subscribe. We are fastly approaching monetization, and that's awesome. But hey, I'm glad we're here. We're here to talk about running backs, because running back. It's gonna be a lot more positive than my quarterback video. I sat a lot of people. So let's go ahead and let's start some. And you're gonna start Dalvin Cook in this matchup. It's the Minnesota Vikings versus the Washington Redskins. Start. I think it's gonna be a run-heavy script. You could even, in deeper leagues, low key, you can maybe start Alexander Madison, because the Redskins, they're 24th against opposing running backs. If you are in deeper leagues, CJ Ham, he got a rare 6 receptions in a game. He's not a start, just in case you didn't know. As far as the Redskins, you're going to sit all of them. Peterson, he's out. Looks like he has been confirmed out for tomorrow. And then Chris Thompson, he didn't practice today, so it's a tough defense anyway. I don't want anybody involved. Let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks versus the Atlanta Falcons. You're going to start Chris Carson. The Falcons are 21st against opposing running backs. Russell Wilson's going to have himself a day. I think Carson will as well. Penny, I don't know if Rashad Penny is even rosterable at this point. He was healthy last week and got no carries. Saw 2 snaps, I think, and it was just not good. As far as Atlanta, Ito Smith, he's out. It's hard to sit Devontae Freeman. I mean, it's a tough matchup, but Devontae Freeman, he does so much in the pass game as well, as long as he's not getting ejected, which it's not like he normally does. I would say you have to start him maybe as a flex. Let's talk about the Eagles versus the Buffalo Bills. Man, this is going to be a fun game. Tough game. I think I would start only Jordan Howard for the Eagles. The Buffalo Bills are 13th against opposing running backs, and he is the carry leader there. I know Miles Sanders does so much now in the pass game. He's kind of viable, but it's really tough to start him this week. I'll put that on you. And then Buffalo Bills, you're going to start Frank Gore. I know the Eagles, they're 7th against opposing running backs, but Gore he sees the workload. They're going to feed him. So if anything, you know he's going to get a lot of carries. And then sits Devin Singletary. He didn't do much with what he had last week, and I don't see it going up from here. Let's talk about the Chargers versus the Bears, and this is a game where I'm saying start them all. Start Gordon, start Eckler. The Bears are 23rd against opposing running backs, and Eckler, that pass catching upside, it's just too much. I'm done saying sit Eckler. He makes me nervous just because it seems like he's only a pass catcher at this point. He still sees like 7-10 carries, but go ahead and start him. Then you're going to start David Montgomery. I know, hot take. He's done terrible. Seems like Matt Nagy doesn't want to run the ball, but this press conference was very interesting where they're like, well, you're going to run the ball? You think I want to run the ball? I think he's going to run the ball out of spite this week. And the Chargers, they're not great against opposing running backs, but still sit Tariq Cohen. He's really only been a factor in the passing game, and Mitch Trubisky's not that great of a passer. The Giants versus the Lions. First, a moment of silence for my boy Kerryon Johnson. Going to IR. He's not rosterable at this point. I mean, he's out for the next 8 weeks guaranteed. So I say start Ty Johnson. He led in carries last week after Kerryon went down. The Giants are 29th against opposing running backs. I know he didn't look that great last week, but he also has good pass catching upside. So start him. And then New York Giants, you're starting Saquon. I mean, he's back. You could probably go ahead and drop Gallman. So go do that. Let's talk about the Buccaneers versus the Titans. You're going to start Derrick Henry, even despite the tough matchup. The Bucs are 3rd against opposing running backs, which is wild because they're so bad against the pass game. But he's a low-end start, really so much just because of the workload. You know he's going to get a lot of workload, and then you're going to sit the Bucs running backs in general. I don't want Peyton Barber. I don't want Ronald Jones. Nah, ain't doing it. Now let's talk about Denver versus Indianapolis. You have to. As far as Denver, you have to start Royce Freeman. You have to start Phillip Lindsay. It's a tough defense there in Indy. They're 6th against opposing running backs, but one of them will pop off, guaranteed, almost guaranteed. And I would kind of go more with Royce Freeman this week. He has the touchdown upside. He has the red zone upside. It's a tough matchup, but I would say you have to start these guys. And then you're going to start my boy Marlon Mack. They're facing the 20th worst team when it comes to opposing running backs. He got his lowest carry count this year. It's been 16 carries. And I say lowest because I know he got 11 carries, but he got hurt. So he's going to see some touches. And then you're going to sit Hines and Wilkins. They're kind of non-factors right now in the offense. Bengals versus the Rams. You just can't sit Joe Mixon. I know he's not been great this year, but you just can't. The Rams are 19th against opposing running backs, so maybe you could run on the Rams. As far as the Rams, you're going to start Gurley. The Bengals are a hot 32 against opposing running backs. That's last. That's a juicy matchup, and honestly, I don't know if it's going to be Malcolm Brown or Henderson, but those, depending on who is good to go for that game, so this may be for deeper leagues, or if you're really desperate at the running back position, you might want to start whoever is going to be the running back 2 that day. So just keep an eye out on who's healthy and who's not. Arizona. I'll get to Kerryon in a minute. I don't know. Who am I? I'm thinking of Bruce Arians. Oh, maybe I'm just thinking Arizona airs the ball out. Carry on. I don't know. That's a strange tangent. Cardinals Saints. Man, just keep an eye on David Johnson. Just keep an eye on him. And Chase, honestly, it's a tough matchup, so I won't blame you if you benched him this week. Sit Chase Edmonds. They're 4th. Saints are 4th against opposing running backs. Tough matchup. As far as the Saints, Kamara, he is a must play. If healthy, he has been on the injury report this week, so keep up with that. But if he were not to play this week, Latavius Murray is a fine pickup. Again, Cardinals, they're 11th against opposing running backs, but that Saint offense don't care. Let's talk about the Jets versus the Jaguars. You're going to start both these running backs. I don't care who their backups are. Their backups are irrelevant. Kind of, sort of. I mean, Armstead, he's not bad to have as a handcuff, or you're just sitting there waiting for Fournette to get hurt. But you're not going to be starting him. You're just going to be rostering him. Fournette, they're facing the 28th worst defense when it comes to opposing running backs. He gets a lot of volume, so enjoy. And then Bell, he gets too much volume and opportunity to actually sit. Even in the worst matchups, you know he's at least going to get touches, so he is a viable start this week. Then we got the Carolina Panthers versus the San Francisco 49ers. You start CMC, man. You can't bench Christian McCaffrey, even despite the matchup. He just does too much. And then Coleman, I think, is a decent start this week. He is the carry leader there, as far as it seems. He got a bulk of the work last week. Granted, it was a messy game, but Carolina, they're 12th against opposing run backs, so they're pretty good. But I think he's a fine start this week. I would sit Beretta, especially if it's Coleman that's going to be getting a bulk of the work. And then Cleveland versus the Patriots, man. You can't sit Nick Chubb. I know New England, they're first against opposing running backs. You just can't sit him. You just can't. And then I would start Sony Michel, man. He gets the carries. Browns are 27th against opposing running backs. You go for it. But I would sit James White because I don't know how Mohamed Sanu, how's he going to play into this offense? Because they predominantly played him a lot in the slot there in Atlanta. So, and I know New England loves their slot receivers, but does that take away a little bit underneath from James White? So I would just hold my horses on White. I know Josh Gordon, I think he's out. I think he actually went to IR. So I know they probably made that trade just to get another receiver on the roster, but still, I would be hesitant. Rex Burkhead, until he becomes fantasy relevant again, no point in rostering him. Let's talk about Oakland versus Houston. You're going to start Josh Jacobs. in a tough matchup. He still should be fine. They're facing Texans. They're 10th against opposing running backs. He still should be fine in this matchup, but you're going to sit both Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. Who do you trust? I mean, who do you trust? It's really a coin flip. It's really a dice roll, and it's not like they're going to be putting out huge numbers. I would sit them personally, but if you are going to start one, then it's obviously going to be Carlos Hyde. Let's talk about the Sunday night game being Green Bay versus Kansas City. You're going to start Jones, man, Aaron Jones. I'm glad that Jamal Williams is the clear number 2 now. You're going to sit him, just in case you want to know. But Kansas City, they're 26 against opposing running backs, so it's a good start. You're going to start Shady McCoy. He is their number 1 running back. He will see a bulk of the workload, and I think they're going to utilize him a lot. As far as Damian and Darrell Williams, oh man, they don't see enough volume. They're really just pass catchers, so I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with it, and I ain't going to do something I feel uncomfortable with. You can't make me. Monday night game, my Dolphins versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Connor is healthy, he's a start. If not, Benny Snell might not be a bad start. So if Connor's no-go, then you might want to swoop up Benny Snell. And then, Mark Walton, you're tempted. It looks like he's the lead back, but I know Pittsburgh, they're 17th, so they're so against opposing running backs. But it's not like he's not gonna give you huge output. He's not the red zone back. That's reserved for Balaj. Kenyon Drake, he exited the game early last week, so I haven't really seen much on his status. They're probably gonna play him, but I would sit all Dolphins players. It's been a trend that works. What can I say? But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing, and again, all the sports, much appreciated, much obliged. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.